daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Welcome, everybody. It's Monday, the 6th of October. Come close, come gather around the fire of punditry. As we bring you, it's time to open the postbag. It's time to, come on everyone, let's have a look, dig deeply into the sack, Nick. I know you like doing that. And see what we can come up with. So my name's Ken Davis. His name's Nick Britton. You're very welcome today on the Daily Premier League podcast. How you doing, Nick?
Did you spend all afternoon writing that intro?
No, that just literally came out of my mouth. It was like just word blancmange.
Yeah, very good. I'm all right. I'm okay, actually. I think I've got a touch of the flu, but I'm all right. I think I haven't. You know when you just feel a bit under the weather? I think it's that time of year. But this is my second Global Sports Premier Podcast Network podcast of the day.
Is it? How come?
Because I was a guest on the Southampton, GSPN Daily Southampton today. Because I was doing a wash-up of the Derby Southampton game.
That'll be an interesting listen.
Obviously, I was at it on
good game, actually. We're both there at the weekend. I will, because we actually, just as a quick kind of mention, we're doing the post bag. I've seen the three letters that we're going to deal with today. There's another three we're going to deal with on Wednesday. One of them kind of has got championship. Well, actually, has got championship aspects to it. So there's a lot to talk about. And what's good about this is I know what's in the post bag. Nick doesn't know what's in the post bag. So
you're going to surprise me.
So yeah, it's all going to be a bit of a surprise for him. But great, that makes it even funnier. So first one is from. We're going to deal with three. Troy in Dallas, Texas. Wow, imagine what it's like in Dallas, Texas. Da, 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 da. Right. That's right, Troy, JR's youngest. This is what he writes. I've paraphrasing slightly. I've noticed that you like to have a go at referees during the podcast. Do you think that the standard of refereeing is generally improving this season? And as a secondary point, would you extend-reduce the role of VAR in what areas? That's quite an interesting question. So, Nick, you're our resident referee. Go.
Do you know what time it is in Dallas?
1988.
Close. It's 12:05, so Troy's having his lunch. I hope he's having a nice lunch in Dallas, Texas. Right, referees. Well, we know. That I think he's almost answered his own question in as much as the fact that we keep going on about referees already this season tells you that we're not very happy with them. I can't see. Look, VAR has been in place in the Premier League now for 7 years, and you tell me, has it got any better? Because I don't think it's got any better, and there still seems to be an enormous amount of confusion about what it should do, what it shouldn't do, what it can do, what it can't do. There's always discrepancy around decision making. Now, the whole point of VAR was to look at incidents with a clinical eye, but the reality is you're still looking at it through a subjective clinical eye. Therefore, it's kind of one referee's opinion. And why would one referee's opinion looking at a TV screen be different from one referee's opinion watching being at the game live and refereeing it on the pitch surrounded by players? So I don't think the standard of refereeing has got any better. There have been lots of sort of already quite controversial incidents involving referees and VAR, and they do not seem to be able to get VAR right. And every year we hear it's going to get better, it's going to get better. Every year it doesn't get better.
No, I think it's an interesting take on it. I think for me...
Well, it's not an interesting take, it's the truth.
It's the truth and an interesting take. It's an interesting truth. One of the things, the two things for me on VAR, I mean, VAR was brought in to make sure that the percentage of correct decisions ended up being higher. And the Premier League and the Referees Association, whatever they're called, do produce stats that seem to prove that the rate of correct decisions has indeed got higher. But that's a fairly vested interest. There's a couple of things I would make. There are things with VAR which are objectives, and there are things with VAR which are subjective. I think the objective ones have objectively improved, but I'm going to come to an important point on that. The subjective ones have not improved at all. And I think that just builds on your point, Nick, that actually there's not much point in VAR when you're just double guessing or second guessing subjectively what the referee saw in real time. I don't see any benefit to that. What I do see benefit in, and I think we've seen it in play, is things like offside decisions when someone's off by the hair on the third toe of their left foot. And offside is an absolutely objective decision. If you're off by a nanometer, you're off, and it's black and white, it's binary. So binary things, I think, work well. Subjective things, I've just not seen any improvement in it whatsoever.
I don't mind the subjective things. I don't mind that. What kind of annoys me, and by the way, I've got some interesting stats on VAR I'm about to tell you. But what annoys me is that when referees make decisions and then they're like, oh, okay, VAR's in there, and they get told to go and look at the monitor, they never stand their ground. Even if it's pretty obvious VAR is wrong.
That's very true.
They never do. They never turn around and go, no, actually, I was right the first time.
They just cave in and say, oh, sorry, wherever you are. I agree with you now.
I know. And I find that really quite annoying, if I'm honest with you. Because there are decisions. There are decisions this season that we've seen where once the referee has a look at the monitor, just go, yeah, I was right all along. Thanks very much. Yeah. Thanks for advising me. Appreciate your help, but I was wrong all along, and I'm going to stick to my initial decision.
Never happens.
It never happens, and that's one of the major flaws, I think, of VAR. I've got no issue. I'm in favour of it. I've always been in favour of it if it's used in the right way. But they seem to be missing stuff again this season. They seem to be ruling stuff. And I can think of lots of examples, a lot of examples already this season where it's just not really. They've interfered for no apparent reason. But I've got in front of me a table for this season already, and I know we're only a few games in, where VAR has either made errors for or errors against you. And VAR have been involved in Fulham decisions in Fulham 3 times, and they've made 3 mistakes. And Marco Silva, I don't know if you've seen interviews recently with Marco Silva, but his interviews sort of bear that out.
I mean, that can be the difference for a team like Fulham between Europe and not Europe, or relegation and staying.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for it when we've got that. A couple of things to make.
Well, the table without those VAR mistakes, Fulham are in 7th.
Wow.
If those mistakes weren't made, they're in 7th place.
Amazing.
So, look, they are looking at obviously increasing the scope of VARs next summer, and they're looking at giving them the power to rule on corners. So if the ball does or doesn't go out for a corner, is it a corner? Is it a goal kick? So
great. That was the point I was going to make. That's what we need to add to it, because there have been too many of them this season.
Yeah, and the other one they're looking at doing is allowing VAR to get involved in decisions on second yellow cards.
Yeah.
Again? I don't know. See, I kind of, going back to your point, binary decisions, ball in and out of play, offside, onside, stuff which is not arguable.
Did it brush the defender on the way out, or didn't it?
Yeah, that's fine. But yellow cards are subjective.
Correct.
And there's a lot going on a football pitch, and referees will judge that by what they see and what they feel and what's going on around. And it's very different to people sitting in Stockley Park watching it on a TV screen, where they're not involved in it. They're looking at it in a very sanitized way. And of course, as we know, they slow-mo down loads of things that make them look far worse than they.
Oh yeah, everything looks like it's a criminal offence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And when football, let's not forget, was, or at least used to be, a contact sport.
Oh, you get the old pipe out, get your slippers out.
No,
you can come home yet.
I was refereeing a game at the weekend, by the way, and you see players just now, younger players just ask for everything, and I'm like, it's a contact sport. That's it's a physical, hard contact game. So just because you've got the ball and somebody's brushed you off it and you've fallen over, that's not a foul.
Correct. Now, one other point I'm going to make about refereeing and VAR. This is more a refereeing thing. Do you remember about 3 months ago the big fuss that was made about the 8-second rule. Oh, this is going to change a lot. This is reduced time wasting. Has anyone ever seen it being applied? Has anyone actually won a corner from the 8-second rule? I don't think they have. Now, you might correct me on that, but I can't remember it. And it's either worked brilliantly or it's just not being enforced and it's being quietly forgotten. There's a big fuss about it being made at the start of the season. I've not seen a single instance of it. And when I watch games, goalkeepers are spending a lot more than 8 seconds with the ball. So what's going on there?
It happened on the first game of the season when Martin Dubravka from Burnley held on to a bit too long and got a corner awarded against him. Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think now what one can assume.
And it always happens on the first game, doesn't it? Because it's the first game. It's not about the first game. Is it happening in the 29th game? No. It's all forgotten about.
Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't, because I think in the Premier League, goalkeepers tend to get rid of the ball quicker because they generally play short, so they roll it out fairly short. Bear in mind, this is when the goalkeeper's got the ball in his hands. It's not from a goalkeeper.
Correct.
When the ball's got the goal, and I think they get rid of it pretty quickly, to be honest with you. It's very rare you see a goalkeeper in the Premier League, like you do perhaps in the lower leagues, where they catch the ball and they're kind of looking around and then they're kind of hanging around and then they're going to kick it long and it all takes forever because the striker's in their way. That doesn't happen very often in the Premier League. Normally they release the ball pretty quickly. That
is true generally, but you watch play after 80 minutes when the team's 1-0 up. It's not quite as straightforward as that. I'm going to keep an eagle eye on that. Everybody who's watching, including Troy in Dallas, you have to keep an eye on that as well. I've got a feeling that it's just been conveniently forgotten about. Now, as we know, as Troy in Dallas knows, it pays to get your team selection right. Here at Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery partner. We chose Zencastr because Zencastr makes it easy to bring your vision to life, share it with your audience wherever they may be. It's got a 4K video recording. It's got very easy AI editing tools. And believe me, I'm a boomer. If I can use them, you can use them. And top tier distribution tools. And guess what, Nick? They're all in one place. All in one place. You don't have to go searching around for these things. So if you've got a story to tell it with Zencastr. Check the show notes for more of those details.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Right, it's quite rapidly getting dark in Derby, and I would imagine by the end of this podcast I'll be sitting here, you'll just be able to see the collar of my shirt. But next question, Nick. This is an interesting one. Well, they're all interesting. Troy's is interesting. Helen from Birmingham in the UK. She writes. I know.
I thought you were doing your Birmingham accent there. She writes.
Hello, Ken. Shall I do it in a Birmingham accent? I'll do it in a Birmingham accent. Hello, Ken. I know you boys have always got one eye on the Championship. Given the promoted teams are giving such a good account of themselves this season.
Gone a bit cockney.
Are there any teams that seem to be establishing themselves as potential candidates? Oh, it's gone cockney. In the Championship.
We've ended up in Adelaide. So started in Birmingham, went to East London and ended up in Adelaide in Australia. Then.
Yeah, sorry about that. So what she's asking is, obviously, the teams in the Championship are doing pretty well this year. Are there any outstanding Championship teams, given the 20%, the through 20% of the season already, 9 games out of whatever, are there any ones that we need to look out for and think, they're likely to end up in the Premier League?
Good. I'm glad you were able to translate the question again because I didn't understand it. Yeah. I didn't understand it the first time. Well, yes. Look, the Championship is, as ever, throwing up great drama, great games. It's the best league in the world. It's the most competitive league in the world. And already there are a few surprises, but maybe not that many surprises. So I think the big surprise is that you've got Ipswich Town in 9th and you've got Southampton in 17th and Leicester in 3rd. And I think last season when they came down, nobody expected Leicester to do anything because they came down under a real financial cloud.
Mm.
Everybody expected Ipswich to walk this league, but they sit on 13 points.
They are the full team, though.
Southampton, I thought Southampton were pretty good on Saturday.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought it. Well, no, let me make my point. I thought they were pretty good up until they got to kind of our defensive third, their attacking third. I thought they knocked the ball around well. I thought they looked a decent footballing team, but they lacked much in the final third. After that first goal, they had a flurry at the start of the game. They could have scored 3 in the first few minutes. They did get 1. But as the game went on and on and on, they just looked sort of less and less of a threat, I thought.
Yeah,
I thought they knocked the ball around pretty well. So I think the expectations of the 3 relegated sides from the Premier League have been sort of slightly different to how they have started the season. Coventry are top of the league, and they are, so far, I think, probably the best team.
No question.
They've not only won 5 out of their 9 games, they've scored 27 goals. They hit another 5 at the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
27 goals in 9 games. Middlesbrough, second place, have scored 13.
Yeah.
I mean, Coventry are just the outstanding team.
Yeah, I think Middlesbrough scored 12, but you may be right.
Okay.
You may be right. So Coventry are the early pace setters.
Yeah.
They're 1 point ahead of Middlesbrough, 3 points ahead of Leicester in third, and Preston in fourth. Didn't expect
And
to
we've
see
seen
Preston
them.
in fourth.
Were you at the Derby Coventry game? They absolutely blasted us off the park.
Yeah, but we scored 3 goals. So they can't be
that was the miracle. I mean, bear in mind, I think Coventry have conceded 6, something like that. 3 of them conceded, or maybe 9. 3 of them were conceded in that game, first game of the season. But they've sorted that out. And going forward, Coventry will beat us. Now, they're not. It's in the Championship. But Coventry look by far the best team I've seen so far in that league.
Yeah, well, they hit 5 away at Sheffield Wednesday on Saturday, 4 away from home at Millwall last Wednesday,
5 away at Derby, first game.
3 at home to Coventry. The only game they haven't scored yet this season was away at Leicester City, where it was a 0-0 draw. And as you say, on the opening, not quite the opening game of the season, was it? It was a week or so in. Hit 5 at Derby. Oh no, they drew 0-0 at home to Hull on the opening game of the season, actually. So 2 games they failed to score in. But yeah, they're hitting the straps. But they finished last season very, very strongly, if you remember. Yeah. And they only just missed out. They got in the playoffs, but got beat by Sunderland in the playoffs with a very, very, very late goal. And they've just carried that on. They've got a really good strike force.
And they've got a really good manager.
I'm mega impressed with their strikers. And they play good football. Frank Lampard, who I'm a big fan of course, he had a good spell at Derby. And I'm a big fan of his. And I think he's doing a great job. And I hope they get promoted. I do.
At the moment, they've got that feel of a team that's just better than anyone else.
Well, they have at the moment, but it's a long season in the Championship. Many, many, many times we've seen people go off at the start, tortoise and hare style, and run out of gas.
Correct.
A couple of key injuries, running a bit out of form.
Yeah.
So nothing is a foregone conclusion.
But given the first 20% of the season, Coventry look the class act. Middlesbrough in second place, they look decent without being special.
Yeah,
honestly, what I've seen of the Championship so far, there's Coventry and everyone else. And maybe take Sheffield United off the other end, but they're going to pick up with Wilder back.
Well, that's what I was going to come to that. The biggest surprise, everybody's going, well, hang about, where's Sheffield United in all of this? Because they've always been at the top of the league and they were in the playoffs, got to the playoff final. So they were 90 minutes away from remembering. In fact, they're about 25 minutes away from being promoted to the Premier League, and Sunderland turned it all around in that playoff final back in May. Well, Sheffield United are bottom of the Championship, having played 9 games. They've won 1. They've lost 8. They've scored They've scored 3 goals. They've let in 16, and they've got 3 points. So they are marooned at the bottom. And the only bit of solace and comfort for Sheffield United is that second to bottom is Sheffield Wednesday. So the 2 Sheffield teams are having an absolute rotten time of it.
Yeah, I've seen Sheffield Wednesday play this season. They were rubbish, but they did manage 2-2 at Wrexham. But so forget about Sheffield United, forget about Sheffield Wednesday. The only other team that I think is starting to get its act together is Ipswich. They've done a reasonable run of form over the last 3 games. Coventry have won the last 3. I think Ipswich have won 2 out of 3, something like that. They look like they've got a chance. Leicester, of course, I think is under a threat still of points deductions. So that could wreck their season, I think. The only other team that got off to a really good start and people were starting to whisper that it might be their year was Stoke. But they've only taken 3 points from the last 12. So they've gone back to normal. I think the story is from the Championship, at least what I've seen so far. Coventry seem the outstanding team. Everybody else is about the same. I mean, obviously Wrexham look outstanding, like Barcelona of North Wales. But apart from that, it all looks pretty normal.
Well, on the basis that they're the only team in North Wales.
Exactly. Well, not quite.
Yeah, Wrexham. I know Wrexham fans. I know certain Wrexham fans thought that having bought and therefore rampaged their way through the National League, League Two, League One, would immediately get promoted to the Premier League via the Championship, and therefore the Disney cameras have been rolling. What they found, though, is unlike League Two, League One, and the non-league, you can't buy your way out of Championship because suddenly you're coming under PSR, so you're actually pretty ordinary.
Don't start. And that, if whoever you know, and who was a Wrexham supporter, and that can't be me, they would need psychological help if they thought we were going to go straight up.
He was called Di from Wales. That's him.
Digestive. Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. By the way, Global Sports Podcast Network is partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalized supplements, because your body, our body, my body, Nick's body is unique. My body's not the same as Nick's. I mean, if you put us side by side, you'd tell the difference. Because without knowing what deficiencies you have, taking off-the-shelf supplements mean you're probably not getting enough of the nutrients you need, or you're not getting, maybe you're getting too much of the ones you don't need. Bioniq provides 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely, exactly what your body needs and exactly at the right levels. So, click the link in the show notes, use the code GSPN2025. Nick will bring them personally round to your house with a 40% discount.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Okay, final bit of the episode today. Quite an interesting third question. It's from Darren in Cleveland, in Ohio. Given the summer was a record period of transfer activity in the Premier League, who would you say so far have been the big hits from that transfer business, and who have been the big misses? What a great question. Thank you, Darren from Cleveland. I hope the Browns, the terrible NFL team, hope we are cheering you up, because the Browns certainly aren't at the moment. Nick.
Right.
Positives. Who's been standout?
I'll tell you who the best signing of the entire summer has been.
Yeah.
Okay. And he only cost £9 million. Okay. Do you know who I'm going to say?
Xhaka?
He cost £9 million. No, not Xhaka, but it's the right team.
Grealish?
No, not Xhaka, but it's the right team. So you give me somebody else completely. No, for my money, the best signing over the summer is Robin Roos, the goalkeeper of Sunderland. Cost £9 million from NEC in the Eredivisie. He's been unbelievable. This is his first season in the Premier League. This is only his second team because he's only 22 years old. Yeah. So it's not like he's an experienced goalkeeper coming into the Premier League, for 50 million quid or something like that. No. He's come in and he's looked sensational. He's kept Sunderland in so many games. He's kept 3 clean sheets already. Bear in mind, this is Sunderland who've only just been promoted. 3 clean sheets in 7 games. He's conceding less than one goal per game. His save rate is higher than nearly anybody else in the Premier League because he's obviously facing shots as well. He had a nearly 80% save rate. And he's kept Sunderland in games. He's won them points. So against Palace and against Forest particularly, both away games. Certainly against Palace, he made 3 or 4 really good saves towards the end of the game. And they got a 0-0. And against Forest, where they won 1-0, he's also pulling off great stops.
Yeah, can't disagree with that. Even in the 2-0 defeat against United, he was outstanding.
I think if you're going to survive as a newly promoted Premier League team, you need a really, really solid defence, and that defence starts with a goalkeeper. And he's looking brilliant value. If you look down the list of goalkeepers in the Premier League, you're not going to find better value. 9 million quid. 22 years old. What a steal. Whoever does Sunderland's recruitment needs a big pat on the back for that.
Sunderland's recruitment has been outstanding, actually. It's been outstanding. The lad they got from Portugal, the left back, is a very, very good player. Xhaka obviously has done wonders for him. Anybody you picked up in terms of who maybe not quite pulling his weight, given the value of the transfer fee that was demanded for him?
Well, that's quite easy, isn't it? Because you just say
There's a couple of obvious ones, aren't there?
anybody who plays for Liverpool.
Yeah, kind of.
Quite frankly, I mean, the obvious one is Florian Wirtz, who's had a bit of a wretched time, and they paid a lot of money for him. Was it
100 million.
Was it 100 million? Was that it was, wasn't it? I thought it was going to. I was going to say
100 million.
yeah,
100 million.
100 million pounds, and he looks completely out of sorts. Now he's a very good player, and I hope it'll come good for him. And he's got it in
let's be honest, Nick. He couldn't get any Wirtz.
I'm waiting. Have you not got a tumbleweed sound effect for me?
So that's quite good, actually. Anyway, so Florian Wirtz is your.
I think so. I mean, it's a really easy, and if I'm really honest, quite a lazy pick because you just bounced the question on me. But he's the obvious one. I mean, look, you can swap Wirtz out for Kirkes if you like, but they didn't pay as much for Kirkes. A lot's been expected of Wirtz, and as I say, he may well come good. He may not, but he may well come good and have a really good sort of second half of the season once he settles in. But he's looked totally out of sorts, and he is one of the reasons, not the only one by any stretch of the imagination, but one of the reasons why Liverpool's season has really spluttered and stuttered, particularly of late with 3 defeats on the spin.
Yeah, good choices. A couple of people just to throw into the mix. I mean, Grealish is. I mean, they paid £12 million, I think, to have Grealish there at Everton for the season. I think that's working out pretty well. Xhaka is working out well. I think Donnarumma is going to be a good acquisition for City at 26. I think Lamens is going to be a good acquisition. It's funny how we're focusing on the goalkeepers as potential great signings. That doesn't often happen. But Lamens at 18 million for Man United. If he solves Man United's keeper crisis, that's a fantastic bit of business. And it's a very, very small sample size. He's played one game, but he looked confident. And he obviously got a clean sheet in his first game as well. Some pretty important saves. Ekitike looks good. Obviously, they paid nearly £70 million for him at Liverpool, but he looks a decent player. A couple of honourable mentions, I think. Kudus, who went from West Ham to Spurs, looks a decent player to me. 55 million. On the negatives, you've talked about the key ones there. Wirtz, Kirkes, not been impressed with Kirkes at all. A couple of other things just to mention in passing on it. James Trafford going to City and then Donnarumma coming in, 27 million. Okay, they didn't spend a fortune on him, but James Trafford must be sitting there thinking, why did I do that?
Yeah, he would be. I'm sure he is. And he was in the team, wasn't he, for the first couple of games? Yeah. And he had a couple of really shaky games. Yeah. But I don't think that's impacted on Manchester City's decision to buy Donnarumma, because if Donnarumma becomes available, you just go and buy him. It doesn't matter who else you got in goal, you go and buy him.
Yeah, and 26 million is good business for Man City. But you've got to slightly...
he's a brilliant keeper, yeah.
Yeah, just got to feel slightly sorry for James Trafford. The other thing...
What about Sesko at Manchester United?
I'm reserving my judgment on Sesko.
Yeah. Because I kind of thought it was a good signing, but it hasn't really worked out yet. But we don't quite know. He scored, didn't he, at the weekend? But still looks...
That might be it. And it was a very tidy finish. Not quite as tidy as Grealish's, but it was a tidy finish.
Grealish's was pure luck. We've discussed this. I mean, it wasn't pure luck that he got the ball. It's pure luck that when the ball bounced off his foot, it flew into the net when it could have gone absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, maybe. The other thing I would just mention before we pull it to a conclusion, I suppose the worst bit of business, and I know they couldn't do much about it, but the worst bit of business that I think has been done is Trent Alexander-Arnold going to wherever he went. Real Madrid, Real, 10 million. They've really missed him. Fullback.
Yeah, but they have, but they weren't to know that when they bought in Frimpong on that side, and they bought in who else did they bring in on that side? Who's the other one they bought in?
I don't know. What did Kirkes on this?
They thought that they would replace him, and I don't know. I'm not as much of a fanboy of Trent Alexander-Arnold as you are. I'll tell you who's the worst signing So who's the worst signing of the Premier League season so far?
Oh, yeah.
Ange Postecoglou.
That's a good place to leave it. Right. By the way, if your name is Alison from Bedford, Marco from Bologna, or Dan from Houston in Texas, we're coming for you in the next episode because we've got three more postbags. 3 more letters, emails, whatever, pigeons that we need to discuss next time. But until then, that has been 30 minutes. I'm sure you'll agree, of Pulitzer Prize winning football Premier League punditry by myself and Nick. So without further ado, we'll let you get on with the rest of your evening. Nick, thank you very, very much for joining me on the podcast.
As always, my friend, as always.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.